Just wanted to make sure. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Allie Prohl from eSUB's Marketing Department. And I just want to thank you all for joining us for this Quick Tips webinar series. A lot of you guys were on very early, just like we were, so we appreciate that. We have some great topics from the past few months where we covered daily reports and issues. So if you missed any of those previous webinars, you can access the recordings from eSUB support website and click on the eSUB on-demand videos. At the end of the webinar, we have set aside a little bit of time to address any questions you might have. Because of the large number of folks on the webinar today, we ask that you please submit your questions via our chat. To do so, you just click the arrow and expand on your GoToMeeting panel and submit questions in the chat panel. Any questions that we don't get to, a trainer or support rep will reach out directly. Before we fully get started, I want to take the time to highlight some of our new customers that signed on in February. It was a very short month, but it wasn't short on new customers. So thank you for everyone for choosing eSUB, and we look forward to working with you. With the housekeeping out of the way, I wanted to introduce you all to Chad Williams, our presenter for today. Chad grew up in Oregon and graduated from the University of Oregon. He moved here to beautiful San Diego and works as a trainer here at eSUB. Prior to being promoted as a trainer, Chad served as a product support representative. He knows the product inside and out in great detail and works the front lines to make sure that eSUB customers are implemented, trained, and successful longtime users. Today, Chad will cover some helpful tips in using field notes. Chad, I'm happy to hand the floor to you now.
Great, thank you everyone. So before we get started today, I want to take a few polls to see where everyone is currently in terms of pictures and field notes. So we're going to go ahead and put a question on the screen here. And this question is going to say, are your foremen taking daily job site conditions photos? Can you please use your mouse and go ahead and select the yes or no option? We just want to know whether it's field notes or not. Are you guys taking any pictures in general out in the field? Just using their phones, using anything in general, or even if you are already using our field note functions, we want to see where everyone is today. So please take a moment and select your answer. We have some great responses coming in. We're still collecting. I'll probably leave it open for a couple more seconds. And perfect. Thank you, everyone. We're going to go ahead and show our results here. So it looks like about 66% of you are using pictures of some sort, whether that be using our field note function or taking photos on the phone. So that's a great start. At least we're out there in the job site. We're taking those photos and we're documenting what's happening. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start with a second question here. So again, same steps. Can you just select the option on the screen? We want to know, how are you currently using these job site photos? And we have a few options here. If you can go ahead and select, we have, are they staying on the foreman's phone and possibly being emailed? Are they being attached to daily reports? Are they initiating documents? Or are they doing none of the above or all of the above? Go ahead and take a moment and select your option. What we want to get out of here is, what are we doing with these photos? Are we using them to our fullest advantage? Are we documenting what's happening in the field and then taking it to the next step? Or are we just kind of documenting it and leaving it where it is and not really moving into those next steps? And that's what today's going to be all about. How can we use these field notes to really initiate things from the field? And how can we use this field notes section to kind of streamline and create that communication between the field and the office? And that's going to be the biggest thing here. So it looks like we got about 80% of people voted so far. I'm going to leave it open for a couple seconds to see if we can get the last couple of answers. Perfect. We can go ahead and close this poll now, and we're going to display the results. So if you guys can see, we're about even on the pictures are staying on the phone, or they're at least being attached to daily reports. It looks like some of us are taking that extra step. We're initiating documents from the field, but we have quite a few none of the aboves. That's something we hope to change today, and quite a few all of the aboves, which is a good step in the right direction. So perfect. That's what we're going to do for the polls today. I just want to get an idea of where we are. So we're going to go ahead and slide into the demonstration here. So if you guys can see my screen, I have the mobile app right here in the front. I have the web interface in the back. I'm going to sometimes jump to the web to show you that kind of streamlined communication from the office to the field, but we're mainly going to be in the mobile app for today. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to full screen this. And the first thing that you're going to see when you're in the mobile app is that we have our list of projects. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select the project that I'm working on. We're going to be on the Jefferson High School project. Well, of course, now I have my options of what I need to do here. So we're going to jump into the field notes section because this is what we're covering today. If any of you attended our previous webinar, Justin Weatherby went through the daily report functions, and now we're going to more focus on kind of that field notes section. So we're going to go ahead and select on field notes. And the first thing that you're going to see is you're going to see all the field notes related to this project. And of course, you could select on them and see the information within them. We're going to go ahead and make a new one, and we're going to collect this plus symbol on the top right to create a new one. And we're just going to walk through the basic function of creating one first before we go into the next steps. So here it's going to come up, it's going to ask me, do I want to take photos with my camera? Do I want to pull from my library? This is beneficial if you're taking job site photos throughout the day and you want to do your field notes at the end of the day, or if you just want to take them as you go. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use my camera option. I have this backhoe on my desk. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of it. And of course, now I can either retake it or I can choose use photo. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this image. And now it's going to pull up a screen where I can annotate on my image and I can mark up what's going on. So I can come in here, I can put a mark on the bucket. We got a chip in the bucket over here. Maybe we have a nail in the tire. Maybe our hinge is broken. I can make those annotations on the section I need. And then of course, if I need to take another image, I have the plus symbol up there. So we can take 6 images per field note. So we can take it from all the angles that we're going to need. So I can press this plus symbol. And now I'm going to zoom in more on the front here. And I'm going to go ahead and take that picture. And of course, use photo again. And I can mark up exactly where the chip in the bucket was, and I can show exactly in the tread where that nail was. And of course, now once I'm done, I can use that save option and save my field note. So as we all know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, we're still going to want to put notes with it so we know what's going on out on the job site and we know exactly what this field note is about. We don't just want to be sending blank pictures to the office and having them expect to know what's going to happen. So I can come into this notes section, and of course now I have this talk to text function, so I don't have to try to type out in the field and use those tiny devices. I can come in here, select that microphone. We have a chip in the bucket, period. We have a nail in the tire, period. Can you please send a guy out for equipment repairs right away? We are working on heavy machinery next week, period. So I can take all those notes just by talking to my phone, nice easy workflow. And of course, now I can press save data and my field note is created. So this was just going through kind of that basic function of how we're going to create a field note and what a field note is and where we're going to see that go across to. So now I can go back to the web interface that we saw before, and I can be as a person in the office, I can go to navigate corporate management, and now I'm going to have a view across all my projects. I can take that corporate tab and I can go to corporate field notes, and these are coming in live stream across all of our projects. We're going to see all of our field notes down the list. We're going to see the project that it's on, and we're going to see when it happened and who took that information. And of course, we can figure out what we need, and that is straight into the office, and we can do something with this. So that's the key that I want to touch up on today, is that we can use these field notes to do things like initiate documents. So field notes, we really want to do this for everything in the job site. We want to take pictures as we show up. We want to document everything that's going on. As we all know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, in the construction industry, a picture is worth $1,000. You really do want to document everything that's happening. Take pictures when you show up to the job site. Take pictures when you leave the job site. Take pictures as you perform activities, as things go wrong. You want to document everything that's going on out there, and you can do that by using these field notes and having it streamlined back into the office. So this was a fairly basic field note, of course. We're just taking some picture of machinery that's out there. Well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to come back into the mobile app now. And a big question that comes up as I go through my trainings here are, Chad, I really love that annotation feature. How can I mark up photos, or not photos, how can I mark up plans and specs and include that with job site photos to send back to the office so then we can initiate things like RFIs and change orders? Well, that's a great question. So as you saw in the field notes section, if I have paper drawings, I can take a picture of that drawing. I can take a picture of the job site and of course do all the annotations. Well, what we want you guys to be doing is uploading your files and all your plans into our project files section. So if you have your digital plans in there and you want to take a picture of that and annotate it, you still can. So what we're going to do from the mobile app here, still within Jefferson High School, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come down to the project files option. Now from the project files, I'm going to go into my plans folder because that's where they're stored. From here, I have my different PDF sets. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to open up our 15-page drawing set I have here. And this is a PDF, so it's not going to get pixelated. I can zoom in on the certain section that I want to zoom in on. So if we're working within this area of the building, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in on it. And now what you can do is you can take a screenshot. So to do so, if you have an Apple device, it's going to be your home button and power button. If you have an Android device, it should be the same, home button, power button. And if you have an LG, it's going to be your volume down button and your back button at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to snap a photo. You're going to see it's going to take an image of that, and what it's going to do is it's going to store it in my photo library. So now what I can do is I can go back to the field notes section. I can take a new one, and first what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up that drawing of the area we're working in. So I'm going to use my library option here. I'm going to go into my all photos. And now I have all my pictures down here. I'm going to select the last one that I saved. I'm going to choose it. And now that it's here, I can just tap on it with my finger and it's going to open it up into annotation view. So now I can come in here. Let's say we're working in this room. This was a window here that we're trying to install. We have incorrect dimensions. It's not going to fit. I can mark all this up on the drawing, the exact area we're looking at. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to press Save Data. And now I'm going to use the camera option to take a picture of the job site that reflects the drawing that we're looking at. So I'm going to select camera. And I have this little window here. So I'm going to go ahead and take another picture of that. And of course, I can annotate this as well. So if I want to mark up the glass we're trying to install does not fit, whatever I need to do, I can go ahead, I can mark that up, press Save Image, and go straight back into my notes. We have incorrect dimensions on our scope of work, period. Can we please get an RFI created to determine our next plan of action, period. So of course, I take those notes, I press Save Data, and this field note is taken and it's sent straight back to the office. So like I said earlier, we want to talk about how this field note is going to initiate the document from the field. Well, if I'm back in the office, and like I said, these field notes are coming in live stream, I'm going to see what's happening out there, and I'm going to know, okay, this is today. We know what's going on. I'm going to see what project it's on. So from this field note that we took, I can instantly see that we need an RFI created. Well, we can also search through all of our field notes here. So I can come in here and I can say, well, did anyone reference an RFI on a field note? I'm going to search for that word RFI. It's going to cycle to just the field notes where RFIs were mentioned. And I'm going to see we have one today. And now I'm going to want to go get one created. So I find out that this was on the Jefferson High School project by tech support. So I'm going to slide up here to the top. I'm going to use my navigation bar and I'm going to slide over to the Jefferson High School project. And from there, I'm going to instantly go into the create screen and start creating that RFI. Well, of course, we might have already created it, and I'm not going to walk through that step. We can go to our logs and our RFIs to find the newly created one here. And then, of course, you can attach to that RFI by using the paperclip icon. Once you do that, you have the option for eSUB file. And this is where you're going to see all your field notes coming in. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to find the field note that I used. I'm going to be able to attach it and include it with that RFI when I send it out. So this is a huge way that you can use these field notes to initiate things from the field. Like I said, we really, really want to be taking field notes every single day of what's going on out there. As you show up to the job site, take a picture. As you perform activities, take pictures. As you run into an issue, take a picture of it. Document everything that's going out there, and you're going to cover yourself and make sure you can get paid for the things that you need to get paid for. You can also use these field notes for a variety of things, just like taking packing slips and sending that back to the office. So for example, we had a packing slip come to the field. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take a picture of that packing slip, mark up what I need to, send it in back with the PO number, and now someone in the office is going to have that packing slip. They can attach it to the BO and they can do the required things that they need to accomplish. So you can really, really see how these field notes can be a huge benefit to your company. You really, really want to use these every single day, whether it's to just document what's going on out there, we're just taking pictures and making sure the job site's going the way we wanted, or whether we're using it to initiate these documents. We're getting RFIs created from the field. We're getting change orders created from the field just by snapping a picture and having that picture go back to the office. So again, it's a very, very basic workflow. There's not too much behind it. You go in there, you take your pictures, you take your notes, that streamlines into the office, and you can see how within 5 to 10 minutes, we're easily able to go in, we're easily able to take those notes, those pictures, send it back to the office, get an RFI created, send it off to the person that we need to, and we've streamlined that within 5 to 10 minutes. So big, big advantage to your company, documenting what's going on, taking those images, and of course, making sure you're using these field notes to your fullest advantage. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take another poll question here. So do you think your team can begin to use field notes to create documents such as RFIs or change orders? Go ahead and select an option just like we've done before, yes, no, unsure. And we're gonna go ahead and let everyone fill this out. We're getting some great responses here. Looks like everyone's feeling comfortable with this field notes section. Looks like we're really understanding what we're trying to do out of this. There's a variety of ways you can do this, as everyone is already kind of understanding from this poll question. So we've got most of our responses now. We can go ahead and share the results. And as you can see, 100% of people can see how these field notes can benefit their company. So if we want to look back at some earlier polls, we have 16% of people that are just not even taking photos out in the field. And yet we have 100% of people that can see the value that it brings. So we really, really just want to make sure everyone understands that the value that these field notes have, it's a small part of the product, but it can really benefit your company greatly just by having all that connected and intertwined together. So that was kind of the run through today of how we're going to use these field notes to go ahead and initiate documents from the field. What I want to do is I want to switch it over to a question and answer segment and make sure we can get everyone's questions answered of what we need to cover today. So if you guys can go ahead and use your GoToMeeting panel, you're going to see a little chat option down here. You can select that drop down and go ahead and ask some questions, and with our time allotted, we're going to see how much we can get answered. And I'm seeing not too many questions coming in. So we have one here. Looks like a question came in. The question is going to be, we're having some trouble getting our foreman to use field notes. Any tips you can share in getting them to use them? So this has actually been a common question that we have. We've kind of worked with a lot of our clients, and we understand that it can be difficult sometimes getting people to kind of adapt to new workflows. What we've said is, a lot of our customers make it mandatory. An easy way is that the foreman has to start their day with a field note or a picture of the job site, and they have to end their day with a picture. We call this eSUBing the job. So even if they're not in there and just getting those basics off from the start, they're just not in there doing their field notes every single day. Well, if you force them to get in there and at least start with taking pictures and just start them documenting what's going on out there, then it'll be a huge start in kind of getting them to take them to the next step. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep letting the questions roll in, see if we have any more coming in. Any questions in general of what we've covered today? It looks like we had someone say, can we get an email for this lesson? So yes, right after this lesson's over, we're going to go ahead and send this out to everyone. So there's going to be a recording of it. We're also going to post this online, so you'll always be able to access it. And you can also get in contact with your client success manager, and you can schedule a meeting with your trainer, and they can walk you through any of these steps that you need on your own. Perfect. We have another question. Is there a way to download the photos outside of a PDF? You can, from your computer, you can just right-click on the image while it's saved in your field notes section, and you can just save it as an image. So if you click the magnifying glass, you're going to pull up in the whole PDF. Well, if you just right-click that image, you can just save it as an image like you were doing it, from a photo from a website or anything like that. Can I show the PDF of the RFI attached with the field note? Yes, I can. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to jump back here, and we're going to go to this RFI. And now I can use this PDF right here. I'm going to include my field note that I took. And what you're going to get is that first page is going to be your cover page here. That request for information that we sent out. As we come down, we're going to see that the question. And then, of course, the next page is going to be your field note that's included. So you're going to have that RFI on the front, and on the back, you're going to have the field note included. You're going to have that drawing, and you can also have the image of the job site in kind of two separate attachments. Perfect. We're going to let the questions roll in for a couple more minutes here. We are getting low on time, but I want to make sure I can answer everything that I can. Perfect. Someone mentioned the reason they want to ask this question is because they have to teach this to their foremen and employees. I apologize, I don't see the first part of the question, but that kind of comes back to the next step. Please reach out to your account managers. If you don't feel comfortable passing this off to your foreman, schedule a session with your training instructor. They're going to go ahead, walk you through this. They can, of course, record it as well. Like I said, we also recorded this, so if you just want to pass the recording on, you have that option as well. How would a PM know that a new item was created? This is a huge question that actually comes up a lot. So first off, when you're on your home page here, you have changes since last login, and you're going to see flags of changes that are happening. Well, with the field notes, as you kind of heard from me talking through it, we really want you taking as many field notes as possible so we don't have a notification when the field note is created, because you're going to have hundreds of these field notes coming in all day long, and you don't want a notification every single time one comes in. So the idea is you can come into corporate management, you're going to be able to look through the field notes and see what's important, but of course also from that mobile app, they can go back and they have a project contact section. So if they take a field note that is urgent, you're going to be able to jump to that project contacts, give the office a call, and then of course tell them that you took that field note, and they're going to have it straight to their hands inside of eSUB, and they can get in there and do what they need with it. So really just kind of using the rest of the mobile app to create that communication, using that project contacts. You can go ahead and give the office a call or a quick email if you need. Oh, another great question came in that is one of my favorite. How would you use this for safety inspections? So that's a great question here. With the field note function, you can take pictures of anything. So if you have safety sheets, field sign-in sheets, any kind of just paper documents that you're doing out in the field, you guys can still do that. They can take an image of it afterwards, and then that image goes back into the office. So even if you are still doing some things on paper, well, you can use the field note section to take an image of that and send it right back into the office and kind of remove that paper once it's been done. So that's kind of a way that you can go ahead and use safety inspections with your field notes. And someone said, is there a limit to the quality of picture in the field notes? This is going to most likely relate to your device. And if your device has a strong camera, then it's going to take a strong image as well. And I'm cycling through some of the questions here. Looks like we're getting towards the end. Can the text in the field note be changed before being attached to the RFI? Another great question here. So we know that they may be using that talk to text out in the field. We know that they may just be putting in very basic information. That way that they can just kind of get that across. Well, you can of course always make changes to those notes. So if you have your mobile device, you can of course do that. Or if we go to the Jefferson High School project here, we can go to the project field notes that are specifically related to this project, and we're going to be able to make edits on these field notes by pressing our edit pencil. So yes, you can change the text, no problem on any of those field notes are coming in. We do understand that sometimes it might not be the cleanest text that you want to send out. Awesome, everyone. Well, it looks like we're running out of time here. So great questions, great responses. If anyone was able to get an answer, please reach out to your client success manager. Please reach out to your trainer, get you in a session, and of course, we can get all of your questions answered. So as I mentioned before, a recording of today's webinar will be emailed to all registrants and posted on the eSUB support site within 48 hours. Remember that as an eSUB customer, you are provided unlimited online support and training. Please feel free to contact your client success manager if you'd like to schedule any deeper trainings. If you don't know who your client success manager is, email clientsuccess@esub.com. That's CLIENT success@esub.com, and we will have them get in touch with you. Join us next month where senior trainer Teague Mays will discuss eSUB's email integration. Teague will demonstrate how eSUB supplements your primary email and allows collaboration as a project team. Thank you everyone for attending, and please reach out to us if you have any questions.